If you enjoy the Filmmakers Podcast, please consider supporting us on Patreon.
The Podfix Network! Hello and welcome to episode 269 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where I've lost my voice, but it's also where we talk about filmmaking. From indie film to studio film.
And everything in between.
How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to
F them up, in our very humble opinion.
Welcome to the show. I am Giles Alderson.
I'm Dom Lenoir.
I'm a writer, director, and producer.
With a very sketchy voice. And I am Dom Lenoir. Again, I can only remember my name.
What do? Do you write? Do you produce?
Not very much.
No, it's obvious.
I direct, produce, write, and
that's what I said.
Apparently do podcasts.
You are. You're a host, and you have a new mic. So everyone's really chuffed about that.
Yeah, you can hear my dulcet tones on the Filmmakers Podcast.
And sadly, my dulcet tones are a little bit weathered, because when we recorded this podcast at the Shakespeare Sisters house, which is delightful, by the way, they had a cat. And I've not been really allergic to cats for a while, but for some reason, as I was eating the lovely cake that they gave me, the mixture of the cake and the cats, I've lost my voice. So we're recording this intro after we recorded that, obviously, a couple of days later.
We actually went back in time because the Shakespeare Sisters are doing a science fiction movie. So we thought, let's go back in time and record the intro later.
Yeah, because we're here to talk about their brand new film, Much Ado, which is playing... Dom?
Opening night at the London Independent Film Festival.
Which date?
April the 1st.
What time?
9 p.m.
Amazing. And tickets are where?
In the ether of the internet.
No, in the show notes, Dom.
In the show notes.
There we go. Well done. Welcome to podcasting. And congratulations you for being involved in some way of helping the Shakespeare Sisters get their film seen.
It's a wonderful, wonderful ongoing collaboration, and always incredible fun working with those girls. They always feed me well, which is very, very important. And also, just to throw in another little cheeky shout out before we go back into the Shakespeare Sisters, I have got film that is closing the festival as well. So opening night and closing the festival, which is when the screaming starts, which you've already heard about from Fright Fest and me going on about it many times. But that's exciting news as well.
That is very exciting.
So you should buy tickets to both of those things.
There you go. What do we talk about on this week's episode with the Shakespeare Sisters?
We talk about attaching producers, making 2 first-time features, how to network and find projects.
How do you make 2 first-time features? We'll come to that.
You just did.
We also talk about navigating film festivals, which the Shakespeare Sisters have become very good at. They are adapting a novel at the moment as well, and we touch upon that and how you can too. And moving up to bigger budgets. Anna and Hillary Shakespeare are wonderful, and they're a delight to hang out with. So we did have a laugh and much joys and jollies. So hopefully you will enjoy that, as well as giving you lots of facts and information that we always do on the Filmmakers Podcast. And if you do like this, do tell your pals. Honestly, it's really important to grow for us. We do this for fun. We do this because we love it. We love helping other filmmakers, and we got burnt when we first started, and we don't want that to happen to you. So if you do like this, go on iTunes and give us a 5-star review, please. It'll really make a difference. It just makes us feel nice, warm and fuzzy that people actually like us. But also, it really actually makes a difference for the love of the podcast and more people hearing about it. Don't forget to join our Patreon. We have so much behind the scenes footage on there now. Stuff that gets cut from the podcast main because we want to save it for the Patreon. So if you're a Patreon listener, there's so much stuff on there. If you're not, do join. Links to that is in the show notes. And we have amazing merch, don't we, Dom?
We do. Wear it proudly to this very podcast.
Thank you so much for listening last week as well to Tracy Jarvis and Steve Jarvis talking about their film follows that I produced as well with them. And it's still in cinemas. It's got booked for another week. It's done really well. So thank you so much for listening to that. Do go watch it in the cinema as well. But if you haven't listened to that episode, it's really brilliant. It's really, really interesting. We talk about EIS, we talk about structures, and we talk about finding investors. So do go have a listen to that. Next week, Dom, we have on the fantastic Chloe Chidasama
and Leroy Sincade,
who are here to talk about their film The Last Rite, which we saw at Fright Fest pretty much as I saw it the same day as I saw your film, When the Screaming Starts.
Yeah, we were like back to back, and you know, I saw on social media like, oh, they're playing the same night that we are, and every like we were getting the same articles, we were getting the same like favorite films of Fright Fest lists. We were playing on the same
Big
evenings and days. It was just a nice little camaraderie from filmmaker to filmmaker.
It is, and their film is out, I believe, on Friday, but we'll put that in the show notes, and we'll certainly let you know on our socials as well. It's a brilliant film. They've done so well. It's their debut film for both of them, and it's a joy. So look out for that next week. Let's get to it then, shall we, Dom?
Let's do it.
Here it is, myself and Dom's chat with the lovely Anna-Elizabeth and Hillary Shakespeare, otherwise known as
The Shakespeare Sisters.
Unbelievable.
For the record, Dom has clapped. There was a group clap that was summoned, and I decided to clap.
No, there was one clap that was summoned, and Dom decided to clap.
So we're off to a flying start. We're doing some interesting synchronizing techniques.
We are. So we're at the Shakespeare Sisters house
Yes.
right now. We're also been given some cake.
Not just any cake.
Right.
So, just to provide some backstory here.
Please, tea and
I
cake, by
like
the
being
way.
fed. It's often, I feel like some of the collaborations that myself and the Shakespeare Sisters have done have been led by food,
Yep.
or influenced by food.
Yes.
We walked past in Soho one of my favorite cafes called Leto, I think it is, or Leto. Unbelievable cakes, patisseries. My delight was very apparent. I said, all right, well, Giles is coming around to do the podcast. Maybe we could get some cake, get something for Giles that's vegan.
You actually said it was in the T's and C's of doing it.
I may have thrown that into the C&Cs.
Brilliant.
Little did I expect the best cakes in London to
Arrive.
be brandished. We've got pistachio, we've got carrot cake, we've got red velvet, we've got vegan chocolate cake. But these aren't just any cakes. They're like towering,
Gorgeousness.
monuments of deliciousness. Going for the mouthful.
Here we go.
Here we go. Is it delicious?
That's really special.
There we
It's
go.
soft inside, but yeah, quite hard on the top. Thick,
I can't tell if it's a bad thing or
creamy.
a good thing.
That's actually delicious.
There we go. Right, filmmaking.
Right, filmmaking, because that's what we're here to talk about, as always. This is amazing, because this is the second time you've been on the podcast, which I love. I love recurring guests, because it says that they carried on from making films. And that's why we're doing this, to help people make films and encourage in any way, and for people who come on to encourage. So when people come back, it's like, yeah, they actually then went and made another film or another film. And that's, I think that's fantastic. Right? I mean, it's a really nice thing. And you have. And we're here to talk about your next film, Much Ado About Nothing.
It's actually much ado.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
got
an
much ado,
ingoing joke.
It is.
I thought I wouldn't brief.
And I got it wrong.
I thought I wouldn't brief Giles
Like
on
an
it, so
idiot.
you
You didn't
could
brief me.
walk right into it.
It is called Much Ado. Yeah, it's really nice coming on again, because I feel like we've learned a lot since the last one. That was right at the beginning, and then now kind of we've made this film, we've learned what it was like releasing Soundtrack 16, because we hadn't released that yet. So it is quite like, it's like a nice little milestone.
It really is.
Great release team for that one.
Yeah, Dom,
Yeah.
Dom worked on that, so he's going to big himself up, as always. Sorry, I had more cake. I was about to ask a question, and I literally put cake in my mouth. So let's talk about the journey from where you were with Soundtrack to 16 and when we last talked, to then the distribution platform, and where you are now with Much Ado, because it's about to come out. You're doing festivals now, but it will be released later this year.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect time to talk to you and, see what that journey was. So let's remind people what Soundtrack to 16 was about, how that came about. Just a little, we can give them just a bit, and then we can talk about the distribution process. So
So last time when we spoke, we had actually just shot Much Ado, and then Soundtrack 16 was just being released. And Soundtrack 16 is a coming of age film. That was our first feature. We hadn't done anything before. We didn't really know what we were getting into. And we produced that with Ben Jakes, who did know a bit more about what he was doing. So that really helped us there. And so we just kind of shot that super low budget about kind of having your first kiss and romance and that kind of stuff, being 16.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was a weird order, because we shot Soundtrack 16, then shot Much Ado, then brought Soundtrack 16 out.
Yeah, that's right.
And in a way, that meant that some of the stuff we learnt from the distribution we couldn't really apply to Much Ado. So I don't want to say we made the same mistakes twice, but
But they made the same mistakes.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's doing too low budget features is probably I wouldn't do that way again. We were talking about this earlier, that it was kind of a weird thing to do, kind of the same, similar budget, kind of everything we did, we did them in a quite a similar way.
No, we were thinking from a career progression standpoint, it would have been good to make Soundtrack 16 bring that out, use the buzz from that to try and get better funding for the next film.
For sure, right?
Whereas, which we kind of have still done, but in the between, we've been like making this other one, and then it's been a bit like, people are like, oh, you're still making micro budget indies, and we're like, no, we want to move up. Yeah, we are, but it's like, I guess by the time your film comes out, you always feel like you've moved on from it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's definitely an interesting way that you've done the 2 releases staggered, but there's always so much to be learnt from doing these incredibly low budgets, because there's so many more challenges to do. So I'm sure in terms of feeding into the new stuff that you've developed by having done the other 2, even though maybe they're not the budgets you wanted on the second one, there's so many lessons that you've been able to bring forward in developing The Unreasoned Stay, which is the next one you're working on.
I mean, we'd never like straight produced something on our own before. Like doing that, and like we saw Ben the other day, and I was like, that was hell without you. And he was like, oh, I like that, I'll put that on my gravestone. But I was like, yeah, I think doing like having done every job ourselves on Much Ado, we definitely like learned so much from that, and like kind of, I guess, it was different.
I definitely don't regret doing Much Ado, even though I think it wasn't like, if we planned it out, we wouldn't have done it maybe, but I don't regret doing it, because I feel like, also, I just think from a sanity perspective, because when we were bringing out Soundtrack to 16, we'd spent so long in post-production that I could almost barely remember filming it. Yes, and it was like, if we don't shoot something now, I don't know if I'm going to really feel like a filmmaker, because we're just in the office promoting and like...
Yeah, it's like all I'm doing is like emailing and like, I don't know, it just feels like, why don't I just have an office job? And then you're like, okay, actually, yeah, I need to do something creative. So.
Well, that's it. You want to feel like a filmmaker, and it is that word, feel like a filmmaker. And when you're not creating, you don't. You suddenly lose that, and that bug comes back almost as soon as you finish. Even though it was so hard when you were shooting or there was problems, and you go, oh my God, we're never going to do it like that. Literally, it's almost the next day you go, why aren't I doing it again? You can't help it, right? It's this bug in us that wants to do that. I love that you went, no, we're going to do Much Ado straight after Soundtrack, even though you're saying, look, maybe we shouldn't have done it that way, or maybe there was a different way to do it, but you did. And therefore, you've got 2 films before you were potentially gone through the whole sales and distribution route, and you knew different ways.
Are we American?
Yeah. All the Americans that listen went, oh, I'm so glad he said that.
I'm so glad he said that.
So glad.
I hope they're not going to talk about levers.
But because you, like say, you didn't know that yet, so you just still went out and made another film. Let's talk about the Soundtrack to 16 sort of distribution side and how you got it out, because it was a success. It was really brilliant, to talk to you guys and then see what you did with it and the success of it. It was incredible. It was really brilliant, whether you felt it or not. For me as an outsider looking in, it was like, no, the girls are doing really well. And
that's really sweet. Yeah. I think the other day I met you were like, oh yeah, I saw your like stamp on Look Mum No Hands bathroom. You must be doing really well. And I was like, yeah, I took a shit and Look Mum No Hands, like put my sticker all over it. Doing great.
Doing great.
Success is short soaring.
There it was, minding my own business in the toilet, and there's a sticker of Shakespeare Sisters on the wall. There you are, made it, finally.
But no, you're like, you're everywhere these days. Yes, everywhere Anna goes to the toilet.
Yeah, every toilet in London.
Like a lot of shit, yeah, no, it did feel like, I think the funny thing is actually the first thing we ever did for Soundtrack to 16, like promotional wise, was the Filmmakers podcast. And I remember like nagging you and like being like, let's do it and stuff. And then I think like when we were emailing people, like trying to get press at the beginning, I always said, oh, we just did this. And then it kind of, I guess, is that like snowball thing where you've got to always sound like you're like a little bit ahead of where you actually are. And then just like keep sending everyone all the ammo and like, kind of building it up and up and up, and then kind of building up the brand of the film. And then I guess when we did like the cinema stuff, it was easier to get reviewers to come along. And then we got onto like Rotten Tomatoes and got a good rating there. And then we used that for like distribution. So yeah, it kind of felt like it was just like trying to build it like bit by bit.
I think there were a few specific things we did that worked. Like one was doing like the cinema screenings, which Dom worked with us on. And that really helped, because like it was like having a physical thing to ask reviewers to come to, and like being like, you can talk about this thing, it's coming up. So I think that was like the real benefit of that. And then, although obviously then COVID hit, so we can continue the way we planned, because we did have a bunch of screenings booked, we only managed to do 2 of. But
it felt like so much more though. I mean, we sort of planned all these different cinemas, across the UK, and I think the one we did do was it felt like such a big one that it had the appearance of a cinema run, and then COVID kind of hit and everyone forgot about it. So it's like, oh yeah, you guys did a cinema run. But, you know, I always think it is so important if you can mount a cinema run. Like, it's just, it does, you know, as the sisters say, it gets people there.
Yeah.
It gets reviewers there. If you choose a decent sized venue and it's in Leicester Square, it kind of adds prestige to the film, and, you know, the reviews add to the festival run, add to the cinema run, and suddenly it's got some buzz around it.
Well, let's talk about how you did get the cinema run then, because this is before distribution. This is before you've got your film, you know, in the mainstream. People are talking about it. It was doing festivals, I think.
The order of that stuff is, so we'd done most of the festival. Well, we'd done what we thought was our entire festival run at that point. We'd only been to a few festivals, but we felt like, you know, it was hard. We weren't really getting into many more, and we were like, oh, it's probably quieting down. It's time to release. And then we got distributors that were Evolutionary Films, and they were going to distribute in the UK and be an international sales agents. So they were going to do it on platforms in the UK.
But we kept the theatrical rights, basically, which was like, I think, a really good thing to insist on, because when we were like doing the contract negotiations, they originally wanted to have the theatrical rights. And we were like, you know, it's a small film, you're probably not going to use them. So can we just keep them? And they said, okay, yeah, sure.
See, that's great. That's really good advice for people out there, because they're like you say, very unlikely to put it in cinemas, but you can mount your own. Independent filmmakers can mount their own by ringing round cinemas.
Yeah, and people really think that you can't do limited cinema runs yourself, like, because distributors naturally, they think, well, I've got to mount it in like 30 or 50 people, I've got to spend like 5, 10, 20 grand on marketing. It's impossible. But if you're a small group of filmmakers, you can set up your own office, you can, you know, just post on groups, you can invite your friends personally, you can invite hundreds of people at once, you can get the press people to announce the screenings and all these different things. And you can just ring the cinemas themselves. And the thing is, if you're doing one evening or, you know, at one particular chain, it's much easier to convince them to put on a screening than it is if you're asking them to put on, you know, like a week or a 10-day period. And if you look like you've got your marketing plan together, then it certainly comes together. And I mean, one thing I did want to ask is, the Shakespeare Sisters are extraordinarily good at getting people to screenings, and I still haven't worked out the secret, but all of the screenings seem to be packed. Like, what are your tips for other than the gun to the head? Like, what are your tips for getting people down?
I feel like you're actually someone that's kind of similar. So I feel like we learned it a little bit from you. But I mean, we just message everyone we
Dom's
know.
Face.
We don't let
Dom's
them
face
go.
right now.
I mean, that's another thing I felt like with the cinema stuff at first. Like, I remember we contacted people in like Suffolk, and because we knew we could get people out there and stuff, and they just didn't get back to us. And at that point, I was fairly used to rejection, but not at the level that I'm now used to, where I'm like, oh yeah, I send 20 emails out, like one will come back. Whereas I think Dom was like, oh yeah, obviously you have to like call them 3 times, and like, you know, if they don't pick up, like, go down there. And I was like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. Like, that's how other people have been doing it, because I guess I just didn't realize, like, you have to just keep pushing through the rejection and almost like just turn off your like emotional brain. I mean, I guess that's like part of it. It's like having no shame.
Yeah, no, that is it. And you've also got to be willing to be incredibly annoying to get through.
Which you're good at.
Which I am very good at. You can almost say professional. But I mean, a lot of the time these places, you know, they'll see so many of these emails come through. It might be like half the emails don't even get past the spam folder. So it's not even read. And even if it does, sometimes people have such a blinkered view in terms of, oh, well, this is an indie film, or we've seen this before, so we're not going to do it. And you have to get them on the phone to explain, okay, well, this is the unique angle, and this is why there's an interesting story, because, you know, they can be quite reluctant in terms of like press exposure. Exposure is a thing. And so it is that sometimes that pestering is simply just to give them the information that they haven't really taken in from the email. I think you guys are very good at the sort of unassuming repeat like pesters that seem very friendly, but get the message across.
I was thinking about the what we do to get people to cinemas, and I think the top tip is like having after parties is quite good for getting our friends to come. Because then they're like, oh, a cinema ticket. And you're like, yes, it's a ticket to the cinema, but then we'll party. People are much more willing to pay for come to a party than
so
a screening.
true.
Yeah, it's like no one wants to pay to watch a film, and then you're like, forget the film, you're coming to a party, you have to sit in a chair for 2 hours, but like at the end of the day, you're like,
then we'll party all night, drink all you want.
I don't know if our friends
And
just
they
like
do.
drinking a lot, but
And I think that's a really good tip, because you're offering something else. You're not just saying, oh, here's a cinema ticket where they could go and see the next Marvel film or something. You're saying, no, we've got this, but actually we're doing this as well. Even if it's something as silly as a raffle or a karaoke or whatever it is, I think it's something to say, it's not just a cinema ticket, you're buying into us. And then at that point, you can start talking about the other films, and hopefully there might be some investors there. You do it as an event. It's just jumping into the festivals thing a little bit with Soundtrack to 16. Did you have a plan? Were you blanketing it all? And did you learn from that, which you took into Much Ado, where you maybe did it slightly differently?
Yeah, actually, it is quite different. So with Soundtrack 16, we didn't know what we were doing. Like, we were literally like applying to like Sundance and stuff. We were just like trying to think of festivals we'd heard of because we didn't know anything about film.
One thing that I think I didn't realize, and then we worked out really worked for us, was we basically brought the film out before, like in the UK, before we went to US festivals. So actually that was really good, because in my head I thought, oh, you've got to keep a film back, you've got to like make sure that it doesn't look old or out, and then actually, because we managed to do like such a big push on like reviews and branding and stuff, some of the festivals I was submitting to would be like exactly the same festival, and it would like, the difference between the film was not like, it wasn't the actual film, like the film edit hadn't changed, but it was just the fact that I had all the stuff behind it basically, and like the reviews and the promotion, that really helped us get into the American ones, and then we had quite a good reach in America.
Because kind of our order of things was that we went to just a few festivals, then we released in the UK, and then COVID hit. And we'd like done all of this stuff, and it was coming out. We pushed really hard and actually we should talk about this after, about the release, like what worked, what didn't. But we were pushing really hard for but it was just released in the UK, and we didn't have any US distribution. We hadn't even played at those festivals. And then we started suddenly getting into festivals, which I think is because we'd done such a social media push. We'd done all of the reviews, we'd done all of that stuff, and then our festival run went on for like another year or so. That we thought it was over, just because then we started getting into stuff.
Yeah, like one of the best ones as well, we went to Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival. Yeah. And that was like amazing. They put us up in this like really expensive hotel, and like just like, yeah, it was like it was amazing. And that was the last one we did, and we kept saying like, oh, this was our last festival, about other festivals, and then it was like, but everything keeps getting better and better, so like let's just keep going to them. And then it's like, okay, this is our Florida premiere, and then you get more specific with those, but
that's it.
Yeah, it just got better and better in terms of like building it.
And that's the thing, you can always, when you're trying to sell it to the festivals, like what these guys have just been saying is very important. If you've got lots behind the film and there's some buzz, if the festival is trying to choose between your film and someone else's film, and you've got a bunch of press behind it, it looks like, oh, okay, well, it's a tough one, but it seems like people are really responding to this one, so therefore my audience at the festival are more likely to come and see this film. So it helps with that kind of decision making for the festivals themselves.
Yeah, big social media presence is really important, and the fact that you were doing that and pushing, it made a big difference.
I think it's confusing, the kind of line that festivals put out there, because I feel like festivals are always like, oh, we want to be your premiere, we want nothing out there before. It needs to be very exclusive, and it's but you can't be that, because when you try and apply to those things and you're like, I want this festival to be a world premiere, then there's obviously going to be nothing about your film yet, because you haven't put it out yet.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's both chicken and egg.
But it's a very important point that about festival status. I mean, there are a whole bunch of different statuses that you can offer festivals. You could offer like UK premiere, you could offer the France premiere, or you could offer the European premiere if you're trying to sell them on it more. You could offer the North American continent premiere or the American premiere. But the thing about offering them something is, when they receive an email like that, it's not like, can I be in your festival? It's, this film's in demand, but we want your festival, and we will give you this distinguished title, for you to stick on your marketing when you play it. And those kind of things really do help. I think, with London Independent Film Festival, for instance, we're opening with Much Ado on opening night. I mean, that's a big thing for them to say that they're sort of opening the festival, and it's great for us as well.
Yeah, give the date.
1st of April.
1st
Genesis
of
Cinema.
April.
Is it an April's Fool? Is there actually a screening, or is there just a party?
Turn up and you'll find out.
Don't turn up and you may also find out.
But how amazing.
It has been quite fun with our second film, because I think, because we've already done the whole festival run with Soundtrack to 16, we know which festivals we had a good time at that worked well, and we have relationships with those now. And it's just a bit it's just much easier. We still apply to them and everything, but it's
Remember us?
Yeah, you can kind of like message them as well, because you've got your emails with them going, and be like, you know, do you think you're going to take this, or like, I want to make the strategy.
Cheeky WhatsApp,
Yeah, it's like, it's just much nicer. It's not like,
and that's, I mean, I was just going to say, just off LIF in particular, like, I mean, that's a very good point, because if you've developed a good relationship with the festival, you know, like Natasha runs the LIF, you know, you've played a film with them before, so the thing is, it's not just about, okay, you're going to let my film in because I know you. You know, obviously, the film has still got to go through the jury panel. But what it does mean is that if someone who's running the festival has had a great experience and they think, okay, well, we've had the Shakespeare Sisters before. Their last film, we know the attendance was great. We know that the press was great. We know that lots of people responded to it, and there was a lot of word out about the festival. It means when you apply again, you've got a lot more chance of getting in, but for those reasons. So you develop these festival relationships as time goes on.
Any tips or anything like that for attending festivals as someone who has a film there, because you've done quite a few?
Someone has one. I mean, we've always been like, I guess, usually as present as we can be. So like, I think that has, I mean, definitely the ones that we've been present at, we've like, those are the ones where we felt like we can go back and ask them, you know, remember us, and we've got a new film, and we feel like our chances are better. And I guess sometimes there are ones where like, actually there was one where we were in a festival in America at the same time we were in a festival in Germany, and we kind of had to pick.
Right.
And we went to the German one physically, and the other one was virtual. So I felt like someone with those ones, like, I would feel a bit awkward going back, because I feel like they might not have seen us as, I mean, I don't think that I didn't like us or anything, but we weren't very present because we were too busy at the other one.
Although I suppose in another sense, you could always spin that by going back and say, well, look, you know, we're really sorry we couldn't come last time, but this time, you know, we know we were so upset that we couldn't come, that can we come this time in person? Because that's another classic one, especially for anything international, is offer them to go out to the festival. Say, okay, we will come out, we will fly out, we will bring the cast and crew. And that, again, is a huge deciding factor for international films at festivals if you're going to attend in person, even more so in COVID.
Yeah, I think like everything we've gone to has been so worth it. Like, I want to go to as many festivals as possible in person, because it's just, and even the ones that were virtual, because a lot of our festival run was virtual during COVID, like, especially when it was like during lockdown, because there's nothing else to do anyway. We just like log in and like chat to people, like on their platforms for ages, and
stay up all night because we were in American time zones.
That's right.
That was pretty.
One of you staying up all night.
It was like, wake up.
But because AFM have been doing obviously all the stuff that has gone online through COVID, it's still been kind of useful.
I suppose the difficult thing with online is the networking. For me, I don't know if you.
Well, that's the best thing about the festivals, right?
It's like bumping into people on the night. Like, okay, we've just finished a screening. You want to go and get some pizza or whatever. When you're in a Zoom room, it's like you have the conversation you're going to have, and that's it. You know, it's like, well, do you want to swap emails or something?
Yeah.
Especially when it's like, watch my film. No, watch my film. No, watch my film. It's like, why don't we just play two robots like talking to each other?
And you're just staring at each other on a screen. Yeah. It's less fun, isn't it?
Stare at them in person.
Yeah. Let's talk about Much Ado then. Let's talk about the making of it, because it wasn't long after you'd made soundtrack to 16. Did you learn anything going into Much Ado? You know, in terms of nothing, obviously, but you know, the fact that you're, you know, both new and exciting, and what, I don't know, just maybe talk us through the sort of going, because again, it's before you'd done the festival run.
So when we started Much Ado, we still knew almost as little as we knew about the film industry as we did when we were doing Soundtrack 16, because with Soundtrack we'd filmed that, but then we both went to university afterwards. I did a PhD in robotics and Anna was studying German, so we were kind of doing the post-production while doing our degrees, and it took a while to finish.
Sometimes instead of doing our degrees. We'd had a whole, 3 or 4 years in between, actually.
Yeah, so we still didn't really know what we were doing, basically. That was basically the setting for it. So we felt like we were coming back into film afresh, still with no experience in a way, because we'd been on set before and all of that, and we'd made a film, but we also hadn't ever been in the industry. We hadn't been on anybody else's set. We didn't have any friends in film.
Right.
So we were kind of we got in touch with some of the old crew from Soundtrack 16, but it was only a couple of them really that would have been possible, and they weren't available for the dates and stuff. So we were kind of back to square one. And so, we just started from scratch, advertising on Mandy, meeting people, camera, sound people. Yeah, we just got really lucky with who we got on board and stuff.
It was quite a big gamble in that we were going to be living with these people for 3 weeks or maybe slightly over. And we probably met them once before that. So with the auditions, some of them we had callbacks. We met them a few times, but like I remember with sound guy David, who we got on really well with, but we just went to Cambridge to meet him.
Sound guy David.
And then Dom knows him as well, but we just went to like met him, had like a coffee, and we're like, this guy seems all right. And then like
seems
same with DOP, and it's like you've only like had one drink with them, and then you're just going to live with them, do everything with them, and like hope it works out. And there were about 30 of us living together, which was kind of just mad.
Yeah, it was 3 weeks in one house, all of us living together. It was extremely
intense. It's a big old
intense.
house, right?
Yeah, it was like, it wasn't big enough for all of us though.
I mean, we had like kind of like what we call like the frat, side.
It wasn't like everyone had a
boys
bedroom
in one room, and then like it kind of depended who needed more sleep. But then like had like a bunch of girls in another room, and then we had like a crew like outhouse. But basically, everyone was like pretty on top of each other, and we'd have dinner together every day, like round the table, and like that was really nice. But then also there was no place to like get away, which I think was really different from Soundtrack to 16, because I think at the time I thought Soundtrack to 16 was hard, and then when we did Much Ado, I was like, no, that wasn't hard, because with Soundtrack to 16, like you go home at the end of the day and like rest and like be alone. And I'm actually quite an introvert as well, so I think I kind of do need that time. Whereas when we did Much Ado, it was like going to the toilet was like probably the most time you'd have alone. Like no,
I totally understand. Yeah.
Decompressing is so important, and sleep and decompressing I think are so important when you're sort of, because you're stuck in such high stress environments with so many people that are making demands off you on films.
Yes.
That not being able to actually get away and have just some space and a bit of quiet and time really does add another layer of challenge, and especially like people you haven't met before.
So how did you cope with it? How did you manage to, okay, this is intense? Anything you learned that was like,
Lots of drugs.
I had a lot of Red Bull. I actually got to a point where I was so tired, I'd get Jim, who's my friend who I brought down to be line producer. He was like watching the progression from coffee to Red Bull to asking him to slap me in the morning.
Can we take that as a soundbite?
Yeah, that's amazing.
I guess also like there was kind of, it's like you really wanted to like play and have fun, because everyone was always like having fun and like drinking and stuff in between, like after, and you kind of had to just like kind of emotionally just remove yourself and be like, I'm going to be like the boring kind of teacher figure almost of like, like go to bed. And I guess with Soundtrack to 16, I felt like it was easier to be, because I was just there as a writer really, because Hillary was directing anyway. So I just like hung out with the cast all the time and like had a great time. And then the only time I got stressed was when like someone would be like, I don't like this line. I'd be like, oh God. But with Much Ado, it was more like every single day there was so much demanded of us that like you kind of just had to be like, I can't really have fun. You just got to like, and if people are having fun over there, just like cut yourself off and like don't look at it.
Don't look at the fun.
It is one of the hardest things, I think, as a filmmaker, when people are having fun. And again, you can join in a bit, but actually you've got to get on with your job, which is making the film, which means you do need to get enough sleep. It's really important to prep for the next day, and you can't do that if you're getting pissed and having a laugh and messing around.
Well, that's it. I've seen that to Giles. I mean, I think maybe some people function better without sleep or after drink, but I was always like, after doing like a really exhausting day, if you're like doing directing or producing, you've already got like a limited amount of time when you get home before you've got to prep for the next day, and you're already sort of deprived of sleep. So for me, like I would always make that decision. Okay, I am going to be antisocial. I'm just going to go home and have that quiet time and rest, so that you can think the next day. And it is a difficult one when everyone's having fun, but at the end of the day, you have to be in charge of all of those decisions, and you have to have the mental clarity to do that.
You do. I had this fact the other day that if you don't get at least 7 hours sleep, and this isn't for everyone, I think it's like 1 out of 100 that are okay with less. But if you get that much sleep, you can perform to your abilities. If you don't and you're under that, you can perform to 70% less of what you would normally.
It is it's often false economy if you don't.
Absolutely, it's true. If you're getting drunk and not and burning the candle at both ends, which we do on a film set anyway, not the drunk bit most of the time, but you're actually trying to make the film, so you are knackered and you are pushing yourself through it and you're not sleeping because you're waking up going, oh, what's that shot? Oh my God, I've got to get that. And what's this tomorrow? And that and that. But the more sleep you can get on a film set, the better you'll be.
Yeah, I wish I'd slept more. But there really wasn't time because we'd shoot like...
Hillary's the 1 in 100.
And then, yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not functioning that well, but it's like sometimes maybe... but there's just things that literally need the time, you know? Like you've got to have the schedule for the next day. You've got to have the call sheet done. And if it's not done, you're still just staying up doing it. And yeah, I don't know. I guess the problem with this film, and this is like definitely something I think we won't do again, is like me and Anna were doing like almost all the roles. It's like we were writing, directing, producing, we like kind of ADing, like we had
production managing by the sounds of it.
Two people like subbing in as AD, but they were kind of, I mean, we were doing the scheduling and that kind of stuff, so it was quite like, it was just everything, and running the house and just like running things in general. And so it was like there just wasn't I don't know, there wasn't any time to sleep because like this night time was my like production time.
And it's
brutal.
It is, and it goes to show that if you do as much prep beforehand,
just have a Hillary on set.
But then when things go wrong, you're okay to
it's Hillary's
change
fault.
It's Hillary's fault. But you're okay to change your mind and try and adapt, you know. But when you haven't any sleep and the pressures of being on set anyway are so huge, everything's minute detail is where the cup is and where this is. Suddenly someone will argue about it. Actually, it's like, it's all right, you know what I mean? Let's just try and. But that when no one's had to sleep and everyone is knackered and someone's upset with the way someone spoke to them, or they're not doing a good enough job, but maybe they'll push that onto someone else by arguing with them about it. And then things get tense. So you've got to be prepared for all that. And it's really, really hard.
I do think when you think about it, it's like a miracle any film gets made. It's like funny it gets to this stage and then like you're kind of thinking about what people might say in their reviews, and like they're thinking about all the intellectual stuff about it. And I'm like, it's lucky this film even is complete. Like,
totally.
Do you even know?
It is a miracle. It's a miracle. And the fact you did 2 without really having any background in it is incredible, while doing degrees or PhDs or, you know, quitting them, whatever.
2.5 degrees.
2.5, you still got 2 others. But the fact that you did that is incredible. Give a little rundown of Much Ado then, and then we'll dive maybe a little bit more into it.
It's obviously a Shakespeare adaptation, so the play is Much Ado About Nothing, and I guess what we did differently is it's kind of like a teen version, like they're all like a university like students, and they're basically in their holiday. The main characters are Beatrice and Hero, who are cousins and best friends, and they live together. And then this group of like rugby boys basically descends on the house, and then much like the shoot, they're all like stuck together. And Beatrice has her ex-boyfriend there, Benedick, and Hero has her like mega crush, Claudio, and they kind of lots of like love triangles and madness ensues. Our kind of take on it was to set it in our kind of genre, because we'd done obviously like coming of age and teenage stuff so far. So yeah, that we kind of tried to set it in like kind of our world and our genre.
So how did you manage to raise the money for the films then? Certainly, let's maybe Much Ado a little bit more in this sense. How did you go about the process of obviously both films? But
I mean, to be totally honest, with Much Ado, we just self-funded it because it was like, it really, really was low budget. If you can't tell from what we said already, it was like, it was very much like just trying to get everybody together, and like everyone that was on board was kind of knew that we were doing something like this that was like kind of just trying to make it work. So I think it kind of was the budget of like a short. It's not really, it's like, I think sometimes people ask us like whether you think you should put that kind of money into like a good, like high budget looking short, or like make it stretch to like quite a scrappy feature like us. But I guess like I'd like the fact that we've done features because I feel like they're like something we've learned about the whole process of feature from. But I wouldn't do it again.
But would you? Because I mean, the thing is, you don't know what it's actually. I would say from a finance point of view, like one of the main things from financiers, I know a lot that have seen very high quality shorts. But the question becomes, well, you've done a nice short, but it's not a feature. Can you do a feature?
Yeah.
And for me, I think the challenge from an investment point of view or that whatever is a short. It can be shot over like 2 or 3 days, and it can be pulled on favors entirely. To have the staying power to get something seen from start to end that's 90 minutes is a completely different ball game, and it's so much more work and time and effort. Although yes, you probably could have done like a higher production value short. the amount that you learn and the fact that you prove that, oh, actually we can do it, I'm sure it's helped in terms of getting future features off the ground for you guys.
Yeah, and I think as well, like people, you know, the fact that people will view it and then you can get like a good, you know, reputation for like people actually want to watch. Whereas I think it's hard to get people like interested in shorts in the same way. So I think I definitely think the way we went about it worked for us, and I always feel like features are kind of more our wheelhouse, just because, not that you can't have like emotional shorts, but I think our kind of skill set, we're best at doing kind of like the long emotional story rather than maybe like the more kind of world building side of things or kind of picturesque side of things. So I kind of always feel like that's more aligned with like what we actually want to do and what we're good at. So I think it was definitely the right decision for us.
Yeah, when I said I wouldn't do it again, I don't mean I wouldn't go back and do it again. I mean, I won't do it going forward again, hopefully, because I want to make a bunch of things now.
Yeah, that makes sense completely.
Yeah, and I love shorts, much too people don't think I do.
Giles doesn't like shorts, just to clarify.
No, to clarify.
Tobias won't cut it out because he knows.
I do.
Tobias is our editor, and Giles has persecuted the poor boy about not doing a feature film.
I'd made a load of shorts when I first started. It was so important to just get myself being a director. If I could have made a feature then, I would have done. I'd have learned so much from it. And I'm so glad that what you're saying is, no, yeah, we could have made a short, but actually we wouldn't now be opening night of London International Film Festival with our second feature because we went and just made another feature, self-funded it and did everything yourselves. And I also think the lesson as well going forward is when, you know, let's say you do get a £5 million budget, which I'm sure you will at some point, you'll go, this is brilliant, this is easy, there's loads of people doing all the jobs we did before, but you know how to do them. And because you know how to do them, it's easier to manage, it's easier to control, it's easier to know what they're going through.
Yeah, and
so
to communicate
that
in
properly.
a reasonable way. Not
absolutely.
Like, yeah, can you build that set for me by tomorrow?
Exactly.
When you know that it takes like half a day to dry the plastering.
Yeah, which I did recently on 3 Day Millionaire, and suddenly when you're doing it, you understand. You go, oh my God, okay, right, this is what they're going through. Or in the past with Hell Booms, you know, I think that's really important.
And the other side, the people can't take advantage of you as much because quite often people are like, oh yeah, no, that's going to be this much. And you're like, I know it's not, because I know it's really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you learn it. And I think that's brilliant to learn it all from the ground
exactly
up.
how much those pastries cost.
And this cake is delicious, and my voice is gone croaky because I've eaten so much of this lovely cake. It's amazing. Look at it.
For the record, I may have eaten quite a lot of cake.
There's a lot now crumpled.
I apologise to the other cake eaters that I inadvertently have eaten a lot of cake.
Well, that's us in the room, Dom.
Yeah.
So you're apologising to us.
I am apologising to you.
Thank you.
I mean, it's interesting with shorts as well because, I mean, what you're saying about story arcs and narrative arcs, but shorts, they're good training exercises, I think, in telling a story in a very condensed amount of time.
100%.
And they're good because you can make something with, you know, a couple of days, you can get people together. There isn't the impossibility of like, I've got to arrange 3 weeks of shooting or 2 weeks of shooting and I've got to see this through and it's a month long commitment. You can use it as a training thing and you can learn a lot in a very short amount of time. But the stuff that we grew up watching is features. Like we learn stories over a 90-minute period of time, and trying to do the short filmmaking route is quite a different thing. And it's, again, that's why it's difficult to, you know, talk to financiers about doing a bigger feature with the use of a short, because they're completely different narrative mediums. A short often isn't anything to do with the kind of traditional storybook or film narrative arcs. You often it's something that sort of introduces a concept, characters go through some kind of arc, and then maybe there's a twist at the end, maybe there's not. Some it doesn't even have to have that. So it is a completely different ballgame.
Mm-hmm. So on Much Ado then, let's talk about the process of making that film. You said it was, you know, it was grueling. You were both doing everything now. Talk us through that mindset, what you learned, how you planned it and how you shot it.
Yeah, so I guess we were thinking about this earlier with like planning and it being so low budget. I think we did do quite good kind of setting expectations at the beginning because we kind of did know to a certain extent that it was going to be difficult. So we did tell everyone going in, and luckily I think one of the other things that they were kind of, a lot of them were like really keen on Shakespeare, or they had like a love for that. So they were also like okay, I'm willing to do these like grueling days. And so I guess we kind of made sure to tell everyone like it's going to be quite intense.
Yeah, that was kind of part of the audition in a way. Like we'd do the audition to know that they could do Shakespeare, but then at the end we'd be kind of like, okay, just like, so it would all be all of us living in a house for this long, and like, how do you feel about that? And like seeing how they kind of responded, because I mean, we did need people that kind of were willing to get into it with us, like it's going to be
go into the barracks.
Yeah, totally.
I think that's one of the really interesting. I think you guys are very good at that. Actually, is talking to people like quite frankly and in a sort of a business way without, the difficult thing is when you're doing a difficult conversation, it's having it in a calm manner, but setting expectations and gauging what people's expectations are on these kind of, because if you have like 1 or 2 or 3 people that are expecting to be paid on, advertising APA rates, and then suddenly they're in, crammed in working long hours in an indie film, and it's not the same kind of system, and they're used to that, you can have a horrendous clash between what they're expecting in their minds and what the reality of a really tough independent shoot is, and it's about telling them in advance, isn't it? I guess, and gauging what kind of people they are and whether they're actually fit for that kind of
yeah, exactly. Because you're thinking, obviously, there is a place for people to be like, oh, now this is overtime, now this is. Like, this is my rate.
Not on your
and stuff.
set.
Well, hopefully one day on our sets. But there's got to be a set that has like a budget that's high enough for that stuff. And if it's between like being able to do that for people and pay them their industry rates, or not making the film at all at our kind of level,
Right.
So it's like either. It's not. We're not trying to like shaft anybody.
No.
We're just, we're trying to get people on board that are in it to make the film with us all as a team. Like so that we can make a film, because otherwise we can't make a film.
And I guess hopefully at the right like experience level, and that's why they want to do it as well. Like if everyone's kind of stepping up together, then that's quite good. I think like quite a lot of the actors, it was probably their first feature role, and like I think Tom hadn't done a feature either, the DP. So I feel like people are willing to kind of put those things aside if it's like they are getting something out of it as well.
Yeah, there is a lot of discussion and debate on this side of things, and I think it's very difficult if you're from a crew perspective and you've been working in a certain industry for a while. You think, okay, well I should be getting paid this, and why wouldn't I? And it's killing the industry. And there is a side of that where big companies aren't paying people enough and they're cutting corners and they're undervaluing people. But on the other side of things, if you are starting out, the filmmakers and the producers and the directors, they are the ones that are going to be the ones coming through in the industry. They're going to be the ones working on the bigger productions in 2 or 3 years or whatever. They're going to be the ones with the budgets that are going to be looking to hire those people. If they can't learn on these smaller budget things, then how are they supposed to learn? How are they supposed to make a living? How are they supposed to earn their own thing? Because there's not the same employment routes unless you go down the runner route, which can be very haphazard, to actually learn those crafts sometimes. And you have to just go out and find people that are willing to do it with you.
Yeah. So do. And that's why it's great. You do set the bar from the off, and you did, and said, hey, look, this is what we're doing. There's no money. It's going to be tough. All living together. If you're up for it, great. Don't complain later. You know what I mean? Because but at least you're setting the stall, which is great. What about your directing style together then? Because obviously it's the first time directing together a feature as well. How did that work? How did one of you talk to the actors? Did you take it in turns? Talk us through that.
Yeah, so it's pretty different from Soundtrack 16, where Hillary was just directing, and then I'd give her kind of notes, and then she would tell the actors on behalf of both of us. And obviously she was directing that one on her own, but I'd have like notes as like a writer. And then directing the two of us, I guess we're still kind of like working it out in a way, because there's lots of different ways of doing it. And I think what really worked was, we generally do have the same vision for everything. Like I guess we spend like, almost 24 hours a day together or whatever. So we're quite, we have all the same references and like all the same vision for things. And there's not really a thing we haven't like talked about, to the degree where sometimes you're like, we've had this conversation before. But like, it does mean that the kind of like getting your vision into someone's head part is already done. And then hopefully you can be really efficient. And when we are, at our best, we kind of just split up and talk to different actors, and then you can be quite efficient because you can get them both kind of on the same page and then go back into the scene.
Yeah, I was going to say, between one take and the next, it always feels like there's so little time. So just having two of us to go and talk to everyone, it's like, how quickly can we get our vision, that I think is a joint vision, into everybody else's heads?
Great, yes.
So then it does kind of just at least parallelize that a little bit.
Yeah, it must do. That must make a big difference. Because me, like after I finish a take, I've got about 6-7 notes in my head that I want to tell that actor, maybe the DP, and you might get round 5 of them. Suddenly you go, oh God, because someone's asked you a certain question that's
and you might all forgotten.
Yeah. And you can't remember what that other one was, and it's so I've done that. Right, the last person, I've gone up to them and gone, oh God, I've forgotten what it was. I need to say something now.
Just better.
And you can't like write down at the same time as watching the take. So if you want to write down your thoughts, it's like you need someone else to watch the take. What do you do for that?
My head just manages to remember those certain notes, but actually someone gave me a tip the other day which I might use moving forward, which was actually to have a notepad and don't look at it, but write it down. So you can say, whatever you want to do on, the reaction's wrong, eye line needs to be there. So you're kind of writing it and then hope you can read your own writing. Because that would be the worst. You go, I've got a note for you, but I can't fucking read it.
I think actually quite often, I think this is kind of like how in tune we are sometimes, that I was like, oh, and there's something else, and I'll be like, oh, it was this, when we hadn't like talked to each other, but because know what I'd missed off because we've got all the same notes like in our heads.
Backup hard drive.
Backup hard drive, which is great. Talk about the next stage with what's happening next as well, and how you've moved forward even more. The fact that Much Ado is having its, it's amazing, the London International Film Festival, and obviously then released later this year. That's great, but you must be planning next, and obviously you might not want to do something as low budget anymore or self-fund it. Talk us through how you're moving forward.
Well, I guess we've got kind of 2 projects that we're working on now. One is this book adaptation that we've just written the first draft of it, but we're adapting a book. And then another one is The Unreason, which John's working on as well, that is like...
The fun reason.
That one we're producing, and Chris Redding's directing. So that's kind of a bit different for us because we haven't... we have produced our films, but we haven't produced without directing.
Yeah. How are you finding that, and how are you balancing it?
I mean, I definitely want to be a director, not a producer.
I mean, we're part of the writing team as well, so we've had like creative input on it, and I think that is kind of I guess that's the part that I definitely enjoy more, just because I guess we kind of, and with this one as well, we kind of started...
The Unreason.
Yeah, we kind of started working on it, and then we started doing script editing, and then we like worked on it more and just kind of became like, just started producing it. It was one of those things that like built. So yeah, it's been good, but I think both of us kind of prefer having like full creative control generally. Like I think in future we'll probably write and direct, but then it's also been really great to...
Jobs that are like the worst jobs.
Yeah, I do hate producing actually.
Yeah. It's hard being a producer. There's no glamour in it at all. It's just you've got to nuts and bolts and make sure everything works properly. It's basically that. You're doing everything but give the actors direction. That's pretty much you're doing everything. You have to be on top of everything, otherwise it can fall down.
And it's kind of smoothing everything over as well, isn't it? It's making sure that everyone's happy. It's just that kind of general managing and making sure everybody on the set is doing what they're supposed to be doing, and if there's problems, finding out solutions to that and keeping people insulated as well, I guess. And
also one clever thing being a producer is to try and put out the fires before they happen. So if you can see a problem or see something that might pop up, is get there early. Right, let's see what's happening there, that I can see there might be an issue later, or tomorrow's that, or next week's that. Let me get on top of this now. Has someone done that? Has someone done this? And it's hard work, because that's literally asking people if they've done their jobs a lot, or have you done, what I mean? And it's not creative. It's kind of being a mummy in a way. You know what I mean? Okay, the kid hasn't done, right. Have you washed your hands? You know what I mean? After the toilet, it's a little bit like that, and that's definitely not creative. It's not why I got into this business. Dom, I wanted to ask you actually, what do you prefer? Because you've done a lot of producing in the last 4 years.
Well, I mean, I completely agree in a sense of how you get involved in projects. Just as a quick sidebar,
I didn't ask for a sidebar.
Well, I'm giving you it.
Okay,
I'm giving it. Asking a producer directly to produce your film is often quite a difficult thing to do, and there will often the instinct, which is very annoying if you're the person asking, is I've got too many projects on, I can't do it. But if you get integrated by helping develop something, and that they ask you for advice, and they like the project, and they like you, and they like the team, and they can see it developing, and they're not the only one doing the effort, that's a very good way to get a producer on board your project. In terms of which one I prefer, I I have different perspectives. I can be more emotionally removed when I'm producing with still the same kind of amount of effort. So for me, like I can come in onto this and I can negotiate and
Onto the Unreason.
And help with locations was a big thing I helped with. I can go in there and fight for the film, and because I like the team and I like the script, I can do that without any real concern, and I can get really involved in that side of thing. And I personally find it very rewarding because it's managing relationships, it's building trust with people that own places or location, or it's helping with crew. All those things I see just as problem solving. As a director, it's like you're kind of putting your heart and soul on the line for something that you may have spent years developing. And it's almost like you're putting yourself onto screen. So with those jobs, ultimately it's a very different kind of fulfillment. But I wouldn't say any's better than the other. I think I do producing because I love producing. I do directing because it's kind of my calling.
There you go. Great answer.
I enjoyed that sidebar.
Yeah.
The explanation of Dom.
Yeah.
Backstory.
So listen, this has been brilliant. This has been really cool. I look forward to you coming on the third time, and when we can chat about the Unreason and the book as well, and all things that are moving forward with you. Huge congratulations on where you're at. The 1st of April, people can go see Much Ado, London Independent Film Festival.
You'd be an April Fool not to.
So there we go. Thank you so much for coming on again. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks so much for having us. Yeah. I will just say, anyone who does come to the cinema, Genesis Cinema, we're going to have an after party and it will be fun. So you should definitely come. It's guaranteed.
Of course there is. Of course there's an after party.
Live music, drinks.
Well done, everyone. Remember, you can go out there and make the indie film. You can do it for your own fun. You can go out there and just make it. If you want, you can put your own money in. You can find other people's money. You can work with whatever crew you can find and cast you find on the street. Whatever you want, go and make your film, make it happen, and then do as the Shakespeare Sisters have done and do the festival route. Make sure it works for you. I've done
Back
it
in
again.
America again.
It's American fans are really happy with this, Dom.
Well, someone has been.
Unbelievable. And if you're lucky enough to rise up and do well,
Send the elevator back down.
it's your duty to send the elevator back down. Dom, how many years have you done this?
It's been quite a few.
You're still co-host, or are we making you host yet?
Well, you just bought me a nice new microphone, actually.
I actually have.
So, host.
Yeah, so he is.
The other co-host's going to be upset about that.
So until next Tuesday, as always, thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone else who's here. Dom.
Thank you, Hillary.
Thank you, Hillary, as well.
Thank you, Cake.
Cake, thank you for the cake. This has been amazing.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Dom.
Pleasure. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate.
I hope his voice is back to normal next week.
So do I. Dom, have I told you lately that I love you?
Probably too many times.
Have I told you there's no one else above you?
Roll the episode.
You fill my heart with gladness. Take away all my sadness. Ease my trouble.
That's what you do.
That's what you do.
Okay. Right. Are we done?